The hatchback segment in India is not what it used to be. All the action seems to be in the SUV space and also lately in the MPV space. So it makes us all that more happy that we have a new hatchback in town. This is the 2025 Tata Altroz, which has received a bit of a makeover. So, is this now the best premium hatchback to buy? And also, should you be considering it in an SUV dominated world? Well, those are the questions we will try to answer in today's video. So let's begin. Before I begin talking about the car, I have a small request. Please go and hit that subscribe button if you've not done that already. It helps us out, it keeps us motivated to make more videos like this. And now back to the car. Well, let's start with the design of the Altroz because that has changed definitely. The overall dimensions are still the same, so you'll get the same space inside. I'll talk about that later on. But you see, especially at the front, there's a big push on giving it blacked out elements to make it look more sporty. So you can see this blacked out grille here. In the bumper as well, you have this black element, and even here and here you have these black elements. The headlamp cluster is new. You get this DRL and these LED lights. Even the fog lamp is an LED unit, and that black theme is carried over on the side as well because these 16-inch alloys now get this mostly black design. Now, in terms of how I like the design, I'm not too sure if I like this. This looks more like a wheel cover or more EV-ish. I would have preferred the older kind of design or one with a little more chrome in it. And you also have this new addition on the side, which is a flush door handle with a light element, so you can use it to open the car. It definitely looks nice and sleek. And over at the back also you have that continuation of this black theme all around in the bumper here, close to the tail lamp, and even the roof is blacked out in the middle. And the biggest change that you'll see here, of course, is that you have a connected element now, just like it is the case with most cars. And overall, I would say that when I looked at the pictures of the new Altroz, I was not very impressed by the design because it just somehow did not gel with me. But in person, I must say, it does definitely look a lot better than it does in pictures. What do you think of the design of the Altroz? Let me know in the comments down below. Even on the inside, the Altroz has changed quite a bit because you have a new dashboard design over here. The interior theme has also gone to a more beige and black, so keeping this clean will be a task, but on the upside, it does definitely feel a lot more airy, especially with the liner over here. Now, at the center, you have this 10.25-inch touchscreen, which looks nice, is nice to touch as well, and now it comes with wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay connectivity. However, the one caveat here is that in other Tata cars that the screen comes in, we have seen some signs of lags and stutters here and there. We've not encountered them here in the Altroz, but that is one thing we'll have to keep in mind. Now, this screen also controls the mood lighting, so you have this ambient light strip over here, so you can change the color and also adjust the brightness, so that is also pretty good. The steering wheel also is something which we have seen in other Tata vehicles like the Nexon and the Curve. So this is a two-spoke unit with the illuminated logo. Looks nice and is pretty decent. The AC controls have been changed. They're mostly touch now, except for these two physical buttons which control the fan speed and the temperature, so that is there. And down below you have a 65-watt USB-C port, which is great to see, and you have one even at the back. So if you're someone who frequently sits in the second row and uses their laptop, then charging it will not be a problem. So this is quite a nice addition in here. Now, you're still getting fabric seats in the Altroz, so no leather options, but what Tata has done is they have increased the under thigh support with these extensions, and thankfully you find this in all four seats. So even the back seats have this extension, and it does work. At least from the driver's seat, it does make life a little bit easier and gives you a little more support. And the seats themselves are also pretty comfortable. The space is pretty decent here in the first row as well. Now, my favorite addition and favorite feature addition, I would say, has to be the 360-degree camera, because I find it extremely useful and it comes in handy in a lot of situations. However, the problem here is that The feed quality is okay, you can live with it, but what I have encountered is that a lot of times, even though the obstacle will be quite far away, the system will still give you a warning as if you're going to hit something. Another peculiar thing which I noticed was that even while reversing on a completely flat road, the 360 camera kept giving me warnings that there is an obstacle behind while there was none. So that is definitely an issue with the calibration which Tata will have to fix. And of course, if you like sunroofs, well, there is one in the Altroz too. Now we've switched angles to show you something which I found a little bit irritating. If I put on my seat belt, then if I want to adjust the recline angle of the seat back, then it's quite hard because the lever is now behind the seat belt. So it makes it a little tricky to get to this lever, and yeah, not really convenient. I do feel that Tata could have introduced front powered seats or ventilated ones to make the Altroz a bit more competitive. Now, space in the second row is probably not the best in this segment. The headroom is fine and so is the legroom, but my knees, you can see, are just about going to touch the seats in the front. I'm 6 feet tall, I've set the driver's seat to my preference, and this is how much room I have. However, seating 2 or perhaps even 3 will not be too much of a problem, and thankfully the seats at the front have this scoop which helps with the knee room, and similarly even the backrest has this scoop which helps making your back feel a little bit more relaxed. So that is going to help you when you are on longer journeys, along with the underthigh support, which is doing a great job of keeping me comfortable. Now sadly, Tata has not provided the updated Altroz with a weight sensor. That means if you're on the move, you will have to buckle up all the seat belts, otherwise it'll keep on chiming and irritating you. Since the dimensions have not changed, the boot space has also not changed. So in the CNG variant, you get 210 liters of storage, and in the petrol and diesel, you get 345. So this one I think is good for one large suitcase and maybe a few smaller bags, which is pretty good considering that this is a CNG model. While this one, because it's quite deep, can easily house a couple of suitcases. So that won't be a problem if you plan to carry a lot of luggage. Let's talk about the powertrain options. You get a 1.2 liter petrol engine, which also comes with a CNG, which is what we are driving right now, and you get a diesel motor. Now, the turbo petrol engine, which you get in the Racer or you used to get in the older Altroz, that's not there just yet. Maybe that will come later on. But right now, we have these two powertrain options. The diesel and the CNG both come with a 5-speed manual, while the petrol can be had with a 5-speed manual, a 5-speed AMT, or a 6-speed dual clutch as well. Today we have driven the diesel manual and of course this CNG manual, and obviously it's the diesel which feels a lot more fun thanks to the ample amount of torque. It has 200 Newton meters to be precise, and that just makes that car a lot more lively than this. This is more about comfortable cruising and eking out the best possible mileage figure. Now you must note that the power and torque outputs are the same as before, so nothing has changed, and it drives mostly like the previous Altroz used to. It's comfortable over bumps, and the braking is also quite decent. The steering feels okay for normal day driving. If you push it a little hard, maybe you would want a little more feedback. So all of that has not changed, and this is quite a comfortable car to drive. And the manual gearbox also has not given me too much problems while shifting. It's not a notchy gearbox. The throws are a little long, but that you can get used to. What I did not like was that the clutch seems to be a little confused. There are a lot of times when you are shifting gears, or when you're downshifting, it just makes weird noises at times. Even when you shift it into reverse, maybe it won't engage properly, and that's not something that you see happening in other cars as frequently as it did in both the CNG and the diesel variants of the Altroz. So that is one thing which Tata will probably have to fix. Talking about the CNG specifically, there is a button right here, so I can press it and voila, I am in CNG mode. It's that easy. Now obviously if you're in CNG mode, the power output is reduced to around 70 odd bhp, and the response is also a lot more muted, especially as you get closer to 100 kph. It gets a little more difficult for this car to reach, or not difficult, but it takes a lot more time to reach rather than if you were in the normal petrol mode. The diesel definitely has no problem reaching triple digit speeds and is quite fun, but the problem is that when you rev it too high, you do feel a lot of vibrations and a lot of noise coming in. If you have some music playing, then the noise is not that big of a problem, but the vibrations, I feel that could have been dampened a little bit better. So overall, I would say this is quite a nice package to drive the petrol and the CNG if you want mileage. And if you want the diesel, that is still pretty fun and remains the only diesel hatchback in this segment. So now that you've seen what has changed in the new Altroz, what is good about it and what is not, it's time to discuss the price. The base price, I feel, is very competitive because it's pretty much within the vicinity of its nearest competitors. If you go towards the higher trims, that's where it becomes a little bit more expensive, but then who else is offering a diesel hatchback in 2025 in this segment? No one. So this becomes your default choice. However, if you're looking for the petrol or CNG, then I think the competition is a little bit more fierce. Sure, this looks much better than the competition. It's newer and it also has a very good ride quality. It's pretty easy to drive as well. However, the small niggles, like I mentioned, with the camera quality, with the clutch, I think they sort of deter you from recommending it outright, but I still think this is quite a compelling package if you want a premium hatchback. And when it comes to comparing it with SUVs, well, yes, they provide you with more space, and if you have a big family, of course, you will lean towards them. But if you are maybe someone who's just got a job, you're looking to start a family, then a hatchback is still a lot more fun and plenty practical, especially as we've seen in this CNG avatar, because even with the CNG kit, you get a big boot space. So even in today's time, hatchbacks do make a lot of sense. So that was all from today's review. We'll try to get the Altroz again for a longer time so that we can test it even more and bring you more information. Until we do that, make sure that you subscribe to our channel if you've not done it already. Like this video if you like the content and comment down if you have any questions or queries. I will see you again in the next one. Bye bye.